Very good. Okay, so there are a few rock stars, and I can't do for that rock stars like Hakikat and all. So for that, no comments. Anyway, everyone did well, so I was happy of your performance. Everyone did nice this time. So even though you have 30 MCQs, you get good marks. There is one particular question was slightly misleading for you, and that is actually my own problem. I know it is seen in polio virus. I know this fact, but I haven't teach you photophobia in polio also, because if you see the pathogenesis of polio, there you will see this particular thing. This polio virus will infect the polio stage. This virus will start migrating into the brain. So and it will cause some psychological problems. Some psychosis can be seen in the patients who are infected by this particular polio virus infection. So in them we will see this particular photophobia. So they will afraid of light. And also parallelly, usually this photophobia and the hydrophobia and we have, yeah, hydrophobia and photophobia are usually seen in rabies virus, but I forgot to give rabies virus option in that particular question. Rather than rabies, I given it as a rubella. So that is a unknown mistake happened, but still, though who and all keep either polio or rubella, I given marks to them. Okay, so whoever marked rubella or polio, for both that I given marks. Uh, the real challenging that I encountered is your questions and options are shuffling there. So not everyone, for example, if one student has the 26th question as my this fault question, the same question for another student is it is in another location. Like for him it is in 7th. So somewhat challenging, but deliberately I given half mark to everyone. ఇప్పుడే చేస్తున్నాను. um 1 minute students, I need a 1 minute time, so let me do a small work here. So in the last lecture we started discussing about HIV virus, so kindly go through HIV once and I will discuss a few uh, points regarding HIV, and we will try to let us try to finish HIV by tomorrow. So by tomorrow if you finish HIV, then we can start the um, DNA viruses. um, Actually, I would like to discuss about COVID-19 also. So let us know some basics about COVID-19. So since we are studying the virology, if you don't know the basics of COVID-19 means it won't be nice to hear. So I have included COVID-19 also in your syllabus. So COVID-19 will be the content beyond uh, topic for you. So in the meanwhile, let me check one person here. Wildcard entry. Manish. Srinivas sir, Manish is not reflecting in LMS. Yes, he is not. Huh? Adding. How can I add people there? Oh, enroll users. Okay, wait. Enroll users. Selection criteria. What is this? No, that option is disabled by the university, sir. I'm unable to add students here. Ah. So we need to get permission from admin. No, in the participants he is not there. Okay. ఇక్లౌడ్లో వస్తున్నారు ఎల్ఎంఎస్లో రావట్లా ఎల్ఎంఎస్లో రిఫ్లెక్ట్ అవ్వట్లా స్టూడెంట్ ఎన్రోల్ కూడా అవ్వట్లా ఎంఎస్ టీమ్స్ లేదు వాడికి ఒఫీషియల్ జీమెయిల్ అకౌంట్ కావాలి ఎంఎస్ టీమ్ అప్పుడు ఎంఎస్ టీమ్స్ వస్తుంది ఎల్ఎంఎస్ కావాలి వీడు అసలు హీస్ వైల్డ్ కార్డ్ ఎంట్రీ వీడికి 2021 బ్యాచ్ తో సంబంధమే లేదు. వీడు వాళ్ళకన్నా ముందే జాయిన్ అయ్యాడు. ఓకే, సో need to open your PowerPoint. Okay, students, sorry for interruption. So coming to the point, how many joined so far? Let me check the attendees list. 27. This is not a good healthy attendance actually. So anyway, I will give a nice punch for them. Those who absent today, I will mark 2 absence for them. That's it, simple. So I will mark for Sunday also, I will mark absent for them. Then they will know the mistake they did. I will download attendance and I will show their mistake. Okay. So meanwhile, let me start the class. Okay. So I shared the PowerPoint. I hope you can able to see the PowerPoint, right? Is PowerPoint visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So during the session, if you have any doubts when I'm teaching the class, you can stop me and you can rectify your doubt. Don't sit quietly, okay? Don't sit with confused minds there. So if you have any doubt, you can ask me. Let me do this thing. So parallelly, I was trying to open this in my phone also, so that I will know what slides you are seeing there. Okay, so yes. So unit 4, we have RNA viruses. So in the RNA viruses, we have like polio virus, rhinoviruses, influenza virus, rabies, arboviruses, measles, mumps, rubella, and our next virus is HIV. So we finished almost all RNA viruses, and the last virus in RNA is HIV. Then I have a newcomer to this particular list, which is the current celebrity, ongoing pandemic celebrity. So COVID-19 also will be studied in 4th unit. Okay, I will take not more than 1 lecture. So within 1 lecture, I will finish COVID-19. Meanwhile, let us see HIV. So HIV is a retrovirus. So we know that this is a retrovirus. That means it will do reverse. Retro means meaning reverse. So this is a RNA virus, but it will convert the RNA into DNA and it will replicate and it will form. So for this purpose, there is a high chance of mutations. So and also it has a specific enzyme called reverse transcriptase. With the help of this reverse transcriptase, this HIV virus RNA will be converted to DNA and it will once again replicate in the cell. So it is a unique virus. So due to this reverse conversion of RNA to DNA causes more mutations, and that mutations is the primary concern regarding HIV. So there are many strains of HIV. So I cannot say strains, rather than many unique antigenic variations can be seen in HIV due to this high rate of mutations in the gene. So that is all about retroviruses. Then I discussed a brief history, like in the France, there is a doctor called Willy Ronsbaum. So this Ronsbaum discovered this particular patients, the gay patients, and he given the name called GRID. So gay related immunodeficiency disease, that is what he said, but he don't know what is the virus or what causing this particular disease. So he immediately he alerted the scientific community and he shared this particular information with Dr. Luc Montagnier, and Luc Montagnier along with his colleague Miss Bas Sauvier, okay, Sonosy. So both of them decoded the virus and they named this new virus as a LAV, lymphadenopathy associated virus. Then parallelly in 1984, from an America, there is a scientist called Robert Gallo. He independently discovered a new virus in the homosexuals, and he named that virus as a HTLV, human T cell lymphotropic virus 3. So both HTLV and LAV are same viruses. Okay, they discovered independently. So due to this particular discovery, no, they received Nobel Prize. So, but unfortunately, our Robert Gallo haven't received the Nobel Prize due to some politics that we discussed. And I discussed about the family of retroviruses. So these retroviruses have 2 genuses. So we have Orthoretrovirinae and Spuma retrovirinae. So in Orthoretrovirinae, we have retroviruses and lentiviruses. So I simply said it them as a retroviruses. So here in retroviruses we have all the Greek words like alpha, beta, gamma, delta, zeta, theta. So they given alpha, beta retroviruses and lentiviruses. Our HIV belongs to the lentivirus actually. So human immunodeficiency virus is a lentivirus, belongs to the genus Orthoretrovirinae, to the family Retroviridae. Then parallelly, you have another genus called Spuma retrovirinae, where you have a spum viruses, okay, human viruses, which are not so clinically significant. So our HIV belongs to the lentivirus class, to the genus Orthoretrovirinae, to the family Retroviridae. Okay. All right. So that's it. That is about the thing, and I also shared about the the this and all. Okay. So I'm skipping all these things, skipping. So as I said, due to in a HIV, the RNA will be converted to DNA, so there will be more mutations due to that. Each and every replication of the viral replication, the virus will modify. So it is one of the highly pleomorphic virus. Pleomorphism means it will constantly changes the morphology or structural genes present, the structural proteins present on the surface of the virus. So due to this, it is very hard for the immune system to contain the virus, or it is very hard for us to develop any drugs or any vaccines against HIV due to this particular property of high mutations, right? So that is why it is one of the king of the viruses. It is very tough. It is a challenging task for us to develop any drugs or vaccines against HIV due to this high pleomorphism, right? Then and also secondly, this HIV will invade the important cell in the immune system, which is a helper T cell. Helper T cell, the target site for the HIV virus to replicate is helper T cell. Since if it replicated and if it destroyed the helper T cell, the whole immune system will go blind. Immune system don't know what's happening. So in such a way, a severe immune deficiency occurs due to lack of helper T cells, and eventually the person will die due to opportunistic infections. So due to secondary infections, the person will die because his immune system was already weakened. So this is how the late stage of HIV virus infection is called as acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. Multi organs will start failing, and multiple diseases together is called as a syndrome. So that is why the late stage of HIV viral infection is called as AIDS, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. So the late stage is called as AIDS, and the first stage is called infection only. There is a clear difference between AIDS and HIV. Keep in mind, students. Okay, when the person has HIV infection, that doesn't mean he is a AIDS patient. AIDS means the last stage of HIV infection. So it is one of the last stage in HIV. If the person has AIDS, means he will die within 2 to 3 weeks after becoming a AIDS stage. If the person entered into AIDS stage of HIV infection, game over. That's it. He will die within 2 to 3 weeks. No more drugs can cure him. So HIV infection. Keep this strictly in your mind. Never abuse anyone simply saying them as a AIDS. No, that is a big wrong thing that you people are doing. AIDS doesn't mean you should not use that big words. Okay. Keep in mind, AIDS is the last stage of HIV infection. And one interesting thing that I want to tell regarding HIV is the HIV incubation period. Can anyone guess the incubation period of HIV? Can anyone tell you? Can any one of you tell me the incubation period? We saw a incubation period of 2 to 3 days or some 12 days in case of measles. So what is the incubation virus? Can you tell me, you have any idea regarding incubation period for HIV? Can you guess? Students, are you listening to me? Can anyone guess the incubation period of HIV? Any wild guess? Okay. So the incubation period of years. So until 14 to 20 years, we don't know that the person has HIV infection in his body. The incubation period for HIV will be 14 to 20 years. Okay. This HIV virus will keep its DNA in the cell DNA and it will become eclipse phase. So it will become hidden from the immune system. So the HIV person have a golden period of 20 to 25 years. He will be a healthy patient, healthy person, even though he has HIV. Only after 25 years, the virus will enter into the circulation, resulting in AIDS. Okay, so during this period, if he is taking art treatment, if he is taking the drugs and all, his lifespan can be increased almost 40 years. So even with HIV, with modern treatment, we can able to expand the life efficiency of a HIV patient till 50 to 50 years can be happily he can survive with HIV virus infection. So thanks to the modern medicine and scientists who contributed in the research of this HIV, and today the lifespan of a HIV patient is around 50 years, which is a breathtakingly high and a good sign that we are progressing towards a healthy thing. There are few patients with even 70 to 80 years old, still they are HIV patients. Okay, HIV patients also have a healthy lifestyle if they are taking the drugs periodically and maintaining a good nutrition diet, so they can also be good citizens. Okay, so never underestimate or never treat ill towards the HIV patients. Okay, so sometimes they may acquire this infection by vertical transmission or due to horizontal transmission, who knows, they may acquire by due to blood transfusion or any other things, right? So never abuse them, that's not a good thing. Okay, so that's it. Okay, coming to the point, introduction we discussed, classification we discussed, then we need to discuss about the morphology of HIV virus. In morphology, due to online classes, I got a huge demerit. The major demerit of online classes is I'm unable to use the whiteboard. I'm unable to draw the diagrams for you. So simply we are skipping diagrams. Usually these diagrams need to be practiced once or twice until you are getting mastering at drawing these diagrams. Okay, only if you're drawing you can able to know the difference between different viruses. Okay, so in case of HIV, it will have an outer shell, and this outer shell has a specific shape. The outer shell will be dumbbell shape or a bell shape. Outer shell will be present. So this is some peculiar characteristic feature to identify the HIV virus. It will have a dumbbell shaped outer shell. Okay, so the size of the HIV virus is 90 to 120 nanometers. Shape is spherical. Symmetry is icosahedral. Uh-huh. Symmetry is icosahedral. Um, yes, it is icosahedral. I think I thought it is helical. Okay. Yes, symmetry is a icosahedral. Yes, HIV is icosahedral only. Okay. So symmetry is a icosahedral. Envelope is present. Genome is single-stranded RNA. Special proteins, we have different types of special proteins on the surface of HIV. Like we have glycoprotein 120, P24, P18, glycoprotein 41, and we even have some special genes that will code these particular proteins like GAG protein, envelope protein, and polymerase protein genes, right? So usually the envelope proteins are GP41 and GP120 are the envelope proteins, whereas the nuclear proteins include P18 and P24 are the nuclear proteins. And we have reverse transcriptase proteins. Reverse transcriptase proteins include P31, P51, and P64 are the reverse transcriptase proteins. So the genes that are present in the HIV are GAG, envelope, and Pol genes. GAG genes will code the core antigen and shell antigen. Just wait, students, I'm getting a call. Hello? Yes, good evening. Okay, students. Okay, right. So GAG gene will code core antigen, and shell antigen will be coded by GAG gene, which is P24 and P18, and envelope gene will code envelope antigen, which is a GP120 and GP41, and polymerase gene will code the reverse transcriptase enzyme. So reverse transcriptase, we have different types of antigens like P31, P51, and P64 are the reverse transcriptase enzyme antigens that is coded by Pol gene. Then I discussed about the genes. So the overall genes of the HIV virus are broadly classified into two types: structural genes and non-structural genes. So the structural genes should completely silence. Student, are you listening?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So yeah. So we have two types of genes: structural genes and non-structural genes. Yes. Structural genes include GAG, envelope polymerase genes, and non-structural genes are, we have different types of non-structural genes. These are the genes that won't code any proteins, but still these genes will enhance the regulation of the viral replication inside the cell. So we have different types of non-structural genes, but we will focus only on this particular gene called VPU. So in the major difference between HIV1 and HIV2 is the difference between this particular non-structural gene, which is VPU. So in case of HIV1, we will see VPU gene, whereas in HIV2, we will see VPX gene. So if I want to detect either the patient has HIV1 infection or HIV2 infection, I need to do PCR test. After PCR, I will go for detection of this particular gene. So in the PCR, I will add the primer. So the primer will be VPU primer. If I add VPU primer, I will detect this particular gene. If I found this particular gene means that indicates HIV1. If I found this particular gene means that indicates HIV2. So the difference between HIV1 and 2 lies in the variation between the non-structural genes of the HIV virus. That is all about the genes of HIV virus. Then antigenic variation. So there is nothing much to discuss about antigenic variation. So we already know the reason why the HIV virus has the high variations in the antigens of the surface or any other things due to high mutations within the gene. So why we have more mutations? Because it is converting the RNA into DNA, and it is not a efficient or a right way of converting. Usually the DNA will be converted into RNA, but here it is a reverse process where RNA is converting into DNA. So during this process, there is a high chance of getting more mutations within the gene, and these mutations will cause antigenic variations, and this antigenic variations is one of the primary way of science. This is the strategy. So it will highly mutatable virus. So it is very hard to develop a proper antibodies against the virus. So antigenic variation can be seen in HIV. Okay, that is the major problem. So you know this concept. Then HIV virus is a thermolabile. That means with a slight temperature can able to kill the virus. So the virus can be inactivated at 56 degrees centigrade within 30 minutes, and second set boiling. So if you boil the water, if there is HIV virus, means it will kill within seconds. So HIV, we can able to kill the virus by taking any lipid solvents like Lysol, isopropyl alcohol, any alcohol-based sterilizers can able to kill the HIV virus. Detergents can also kill the HIV virus. So basically, this is a very weak polioviruses. This rhino and polioviruses, no, they can even withstand the the acidity of the stomach. They are one of the named, usually named as a heterosexual weak virus. It can be easily killed. Okay, so this is all about the resistance and susceptibility of HIV virus. This is the first thing will be mode of transmission. So mode of transmission include the how the virus will be transmitted among the community. So the virus will be transmitted either by unprotected sex or vertical transmission from mother to baby, or through sharing needles or drug abuses, or from blood bank. So from transferred blood, we may acquire the HIV infection. So these are the modes of transmission of HIV infection. And HIV is not transmitted. This is what I want to give an awareness regarding HIV. So HIV is not transmitted by swimming pools. It is not transmitted by saliva, tears, kissing, a simple mouth kissing, or even HIV won't transmitted by pets and mosquitoes. And even HIV won't spread through sharing some personal items such as the toilets or food or drinks. Okay. By that, the HIV won't transmit. It is not a contagious or infectious virus. Keep in mind. And also, it won't even transmit through insects. Those viruses are different. Arboviruses. Okay, our HIV virus won't even transmit through insects also. That means if a insect bite a HIV patient and that same mosquito bited you, but you won't get HIV virus. Okay, so HIV virus won't transmit through mosquito bites. So this is all about this is how the HIV not transmit. Okay, then if possible, try to give awareness regarding this misassumptions or this misinformation. Usually now and then we will see this misinformation and the people will get diverted due to this false things like WhatsApp University. Okay, they will have a very short memory and they will preach like they know everything. So you need to be very cautious when you are reading or understanding any concept. Okay. Anyway, that is another story. So the other one is pathogenesis of HIV virus. The pathogenesis of HIV virus includes a very simple. So mode of transmission we already discussed. Then cell tropism can be seen in HIV virus, such as cell tropism means the count of the CD4 cell will be drastically reduced because the target site of the HIV virus is the CD4 cells, which is helper T cells. So the HIV virus will attach to the CD4 cell with the help of the HIV viral surface protein, which is GP120. So with the help of GP120, the virus will attach to the CD4 receptor of the helper T cell and it will start infecting the helper T cell. And also, along with the CD4 receptor of helper T cell, it need a co-receptor called CCR5 and CXCR4. So along with the CDR4 and CXCR4 and CCR5 receptor, the virus will gain entry into the helper T cell and it will start replicating within the helper T cell. Okay, so there are few African people we found that they don't have this particular CXCR4 and CCR5 receptors, so they are naturally immune to the HIV virus infection. So this is something really interesting discovery that we made, and we are trying to make treatments targeting drugs to block this particular receptor in the cells. And that research is undergoing still. It is not approved by FDA. It is in the pipeline of it is in the pipeline. Pipeline means the drug is under the process of releasing. Okay. Anyway, so this is all about cell tropism by HIV. Then pathogenesis, same story, students. In the pathogenesis, the important thing that I want to tell is after entering the virus into the helper T cell, this virus DNA will be incorporated into the DNA of the helper T cell. After inserting the DNA into helper T cell DNA, usually in the helper T cell we will have the DNA, and the HIV viral DNA will be incorporated into the helper T cell DNA. After incorporating this particular DNA, this HIV virus will become shut down. It will become quiet. Okay, that particular DNA containing helper T cell is called as provirus. The DNA of the HIV virus is called as provirus. Okay, now this HIV will stay inside the helper T cell for a significantly long time, almost up to it can stay up to 14 to 20 years. It can stay the viral DNA within the cell, and no one knows. Immune system don't know whether the virus present inside the body or not. This is called the eclipse phase of HIV virus. So after keeping HIV DNA within the helper T cell DNA, it will become quiet. Okay, the patient will become asymptomatic and we don't even know that the patient has HIV infection. Okay, so that is one important thing. That is called eclipse phase of the HIV virus. So the eclipse phase of HIV virus is almost 20 years. After 20 years, suddenly the virus will replicate. Whenever the immune system weaken, the virus will suddenly replicate like hell, and it will release the viruses, resulting in AIDS. Okay, then you will get the acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, and the patient may die within few months. Okay. So this is the actual pathogenesis of the HIV virus. The same thing is there in the paragraph manner. Okay. Simply the HIV virus will target the CD4 cell, which is helper T cell, and it will incorporate the provirus. That means the DNA of the HIV virus will be incorporated into the DNA of the helper T cell, and it will become eclipse. It will become shut down. It will become silent for a brief period of time. So the brief period of time is around 14 to 20 years. So until this time, we can't find this HIV virus. Okay. Now, during this time, this virus will be shed. This virus will be shedded from blood, lymphocytes, plasma, cervical secretions, semen, saliva, urine, tears, and breast milk. When the HIV patient has HIV virus, even though it is in the eclipse phase, this patient can able to spread the virus through blood-to-blood transmission. This virus is present in the blood, plasma, lymphocytes, cervical secretions, semen, saliva, urine, tears, and breast milk. So that is why we will say if the person want sex means he need to do it in a protective sex. That means he need to have a condom because the virus can able to shed through semen. And also if the mother if she's a woman, she can spread the virus through her breast milk. That means she may spread this virus to her baby. So we need to be very cautious regarding these particular things. Okay, so even virus can be shedded in the urine and saliva also, so you need to be cautious regarding this thing. Okay, so that is overall pathogenesis of HIV virus. And let us see the one important thing. This table is one important thing I want to discuss, students. This table will discuss the complete pathogenesis of HIV virus. So pay utmost attention to me. Listen properly. The red line is the HIV virus. For example, this is a patient. So the x-axis showing time and y-axis showing the viral load in the blood. Y-axis showing viral load and x-axis showing the time. Now you just try to understand yourself. After now the patient got HIV virus into his body. So it took almost 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, HIV virus will start replicating inside the helper T cells. Slowly the HIV virus count will be increased inside the blood. So the count of the HIV virus will be increased. How the virus replicating? What is the target site of HIV virus? Tell me, students. Where does the HIV virus replicating inside the body? Helper T cell, right?
CD4.
Yes. Then what will be the during this increase of viral load? What will be the CD4 count? Whether you will have a normal CD4 cell count or the CD4 cell count will be decreased. What will happen to the decreased, right? See, parallelly the blue line indicates CD4 count. So when the virus replicating, the CD4 count has been dropping. See here, there is a pakka correlation between increased viral replication and decreased CD4 count. This is called cell tropism. Now, after a certain time, immune system will develop the immunity. The CD4 cells will try to overcome the infection. So the CD4 cells will try to increase the count. The body immune system will try to increase the CD4 cell count. When the CD4 cell count increased, the viral load has been decreased. See, when CD4 cells are re-increasing, at that time viral load has been decreased. So there is a constant battle between immune system and the virus. So this battle will be there for 14 to 20 years. So for 14 to 20 years, the immune system will try to suppress the virus. Even the virus will try to kill the cells, but the body will try to maintain the cell count. It will struggle a lot. So that is why this cut shows that for 20 years this will be the scenario. After 20 years, absolutely the patient will become weak. His immune system will become weak, right? So slowly his immune system will drop. So after 20 years, so see, after cut we have years here. So after 20 years, immune system will weak. So immune system will be dropping. Immune system, the CD4 cell count is decreasing. Meanwhile, the virus load is increasing inside the body. Suddenly, at certain stage, the CD4 cell count will be so low where the immune system can't even detect any pathogens. At this time, even a simple opportunistic pathogen will cause a lethal death to us. So at this particular stage, the opportunistic diseases will be catched to the patient, and at this time the viral load will be drastically increased inside his body, and the CD4 count has been the CD4 count has been dropped, resulting is death of the patient. A very dangerous virus. And this particular graph now, it's showing the complete mechanism of HIV. I like this table a lot. So first time when I understood this, the data of this table, I felt very happy because I saw the complete spectrum of HIV infection. So yeah, so this is latent stage. So clinical latency, this is the incubation period, and this is the primary infection, and this is where you will see the opportunistic diseases, and this is the death. So that is why the CD4 count will be drastically reduced in HIV viral infection. So I hope you understood this table. So if you know this table means lab diagnosis will be very easy. Okay, so that's it. So the same table once again I showed here. They given more data here. Okay, students. Next, clinical features. So what are the clinical signs and symptoms of HIV patient? So the stages are classified into 4 stages. Okay, acute HIV infection, asymptomatic infection, persistent generalized lymphadenopathy, systematic HIV infection. So acute infection HIV infection, and in the blood we can able to detect the P24 in P24 antigen. Are you listening my voice, students? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, this is all about acute HIV infection. Next is asymptomatic infection. So as the name suggests, there won't be any symptoms in the patient. Okay. So asymptomatic, the individuals are infected persons who are usually well. Okay, they will show positive HIV antibodies. So in these asymptomatic patients, if we do serology test, we can able to detect HIV antibodies in the patient. So we can able to detect HIV antibodies in asymptomatic patients. So that is why we will do these studies. So we have something called risk groups. So there is a high chance of getting HIV in the I cannot say this word. How to tell, sex workers. Okay, so near the sex workers colony, we can that colony is called as high risk groups. So there is a high chance of getting HIV among those people. HIV test. So if we found any HIV antibodies means we can immediately start giving treatment to them. So high risk group people need to be identified and they need to give the HIV treatment. That we will do actually. All government hospitals will try to identify these high risk groups and they will give. Believe it or not, high risk group people are not only sex workers, but this I found personally because my friends are working in this identifying of this high risk. One of the common criteria is this migrant labor. Even so, even they are one of the high risk group people. I was surprised when my friend said this thing to me. He said risk group people include sex workers and this migrant workers. Okay, so even migrant workers will have HIV virus. So that is an interesting thing that I came to know. Okay, so yeah, we asymptomatic people we can able to detect this HIV antibodies in them. Then in the third stage of HIV infection, we can see persistent generalized lymphadenopathy. That means lymph node inflammation can be seen in the third stage of the HIV viral infection. So persistent lymphadenopathy, generalized lymphadenopathy can be seen. So in the latent stage of HIV, in the last stage of HIV, you will see this particular symptomatic HIV infection. You will see a drastic decreased CD4 count. The patient will become very lean. A sudden weight loss can be seen in the patient. Night sweats, sudden weight loss and night sweats is one of the characteristic feature for HIV infection. So in HIV people, we will see drastic reduced body weight, and the night sweats can be seen in these patients, and also we can see decreased CD4 cell count. That indicates late stage of HIV viral infection. Then ultimately the patient will go to the AIDS stage, game over. So AIDS, that is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, which is the latent stage of, or the, you know, the advanced stage of the HIV infection is AIDS. So by that we can lose the hopes on the patient. So that is AIDS. AIDS is the last stage. AIDS will be seen after 20 to 30 years actually. Okay, if the patient not taking drugs, even after taking drugs, still they will go to AIDS stage after 50 years. There is no treatment, students, actually. You cannot remove viral load from the patient. All we are doing is to suppress the viral replication by giving some tablets, but we cannot kill the virus. Still today, we don't have a proper treatment to remove this virus from our body. Now we have some hopes by CRISPR-Cas9, but still it requires some 5 years of research to commercially available CRISPR as a HIV treatment. Okay, so these are the signs and symptoms of HIV virus. Same thing they given here, clinical in adults, AIDS in adults, and pediatric AIDS also can be seen. That means AIDS in the children and AIDS in the adults. So in case of adults, the high risk factors for AIDS include anal and genital sex, intravenous drug abuse, hemophiliacs that love blood products. Literally, there are few people that will drink blood. They will buy blood from the blood bank and they will drink it. Sounds unnatural to you, but there are few vampires out there. It is a psychological problem. They will drink blood literally. Okay. And we have some hemophilic patients, like even some hemophilic patients, we will give a constant blood will be transfused, and they are high risk of getting HIV infection, and blood transfusions may cause HIV AIDS in the adults. Whereas pediatric AIDS include infected mothers or transfused blood or blood products or Kaposi syndrome. Kaposi syndrome means it's a kind of cancer. Leave it. Kaposi carcinoma is a cancer. Leave it. Okay, then what are the type of opportunistic infections that we can? Yes.
तो जस्ट नाउ ही सेड कि इन्फेक्शन का जो खतरा होता है वो उन लोग कुछ लोग होते हैं जो ब्लड बैंक से ब्लड लेके मतलब ड्रिंक कर लेते हैं उसे, बट सर स्टमक में तो HIV स्टे ही नहीं कर पाता. मतलब अगर हम कोई ब्लड ड्रिंक करते हैं तो
they are taking high volume, and they may have some cuts here and there on in the mouth, or actually they are psychologically unstable persons. Okay, not a simple 1 or 2 drops, that are consuming high volume. Okay, that is extremely rare. Actually, I'm not supposed to tell these things. The dark side of some things. I'll leave it. So okay, that one you can leave that one. Okay, so next, so opportunistic infections.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, what I'm saying is, if a normal person is drinking a human blood, it will be digested, right?
It will be
The
digested.
blood.
Actually, it will be nicely digested. It will digest happily, and it is a nutritious food. Actually, they will eat blood. Actually, that a goat blood, we can make a dish out of goat blood. I don't know whether you know this fact or not. There is a name for that dish also, goat blood dish. They will do it. I don't know whether the North people eat it or not. I haven't eaten, but I know some people will make a dish out of goat blood and they will eat it. Anyway, leave it. That is out of context. Leave it. So next is opportunistic infections. So what type of opportunistic infections can occur due to when the patient has AIDS? So the common opportunistic infections include tuberculosis, salmonellosis, viral opportunistic infections like cytomegalovirus infection, herpes, varicella zoster, Epstein-Barr. Can be occur as opportunistic viral infections. Then we have opportunistic fungi like Candida aspergillus histoplasmosis. So these are the opportunistic fungal infections, and we have even some opportunistic parasitic infections like toxoplasmosis, cryptococcicosis, isosporiosis, or generalized strongyloidiasis can be seen in. These are the common opportunistic infections that are seen in HIV patients, in AIDS patients. So these are the clinical symptoms and opportunistic infections seen in HIV in patients. So that is all about this thing, students. So summary. Globally, 36.7 million people are infected by HIV virus. Okay, so these are the statistics from 2016. So globally, we have around 36 million people are infected by or living with HIV infection. So out of them, every year we are getting 1.8 newly infected patients. So every year we are getting 1.5 million people are getting infected by HIV, and out of this, 1 million people are dying due to HIV virus. So 1 million people are dying every year due to HIV virus infection. So this is one of a global concern. Even it is an epidemic. HIV is a global epidemic actually. Okay. Epidemic, endemic, and pandemic. So we have a very many hotspots of HIV people globally everywhere. So we have a good art treatment. So identifying this 36 million asymptomatic people is the first priority for us. We need to identify this 36 million infected asymptomatic HIV people. If we identify these people, if we give a proper treatment to them, we can reduce the deaths and we can able to reduce the new infections. So identifying these people is one of the important task that we need to do. How we can identify these people? We can identify these people by vigorous laboratory tests. So even if we suspect that the patient has the person may get HIV, it is wise to do the HIV antibody test to this particular suspected individual, and we need to identify them. Identifying this missing 36 million people is the primary target for WHO. Since a long time we are trying to identify. We have um, uh, many programs are going to identify these people. Okay, never leave them alone. If we identify them, they will have a healthy life and we can reduce the death rate. Okay, so these are the statistics. Almost 70% people are undiagnosed. 70% of HIV individuals don't know that they have this HIV infection. So it is one of the important tasks to identify these people. Okay, so yes, the first thing, if you feel that you have a HIV infection, the first and foremost thing that you need, there is no wrong in it. Okay, if you feel you have symptoms, go and get tested for HIV frequently. Especially we, the lab technicians, are highly susceptible to HIV infections, HIV hepatitis. Okay, so frequently we need to get tested ourselves against this HIV. If we found it, we can. If we found it in the early stage, our life will be good. If not, many people will suffer due to us. So now I will. Now you understood the significance of lab test, right? So now let us discuss about laboratory diagnosis of HIV. So how to diagnose HIV in the lab? We have many tests, students, not one or two. So I in the test book itself, there are many things to discuss in lab diagnosis, but I congested it and we can see like a flow charts. So we will categorize the tests and we will know the names of tests. That's it. We need not to study in detail about all the tests. Okay. So lab diagnosis, I will cut short it. So you just know what and all parameters are available for testing HIV. So coming to the lab diagnosis of HIV. See, students, HIV is one of the it is as important as COVID-19. COVID-19 is a short follow. It only came recently, but we are struggling with HIV for a long time. Still, we are unable to suppress the HIV virus. So that is why I'm taking more time to discuss HIV. Okay, so don't feel like I'm torturing you. Coming to the lab diagnosis of HIV. So we have three types of tests for HIV. So broadly, these lab tests are divided into three types. We have specific tests for HIV detection. Then we have non-specific tests, and we have tests to detect opportunistic infections. Okay, we have specific tests for HIV detection, and we have non-specific tests, and we have tests for detection of opportunistic infections such as tuberculosis and all. Okay. Now, first, let us discuss about specific tests for HIV detection. So, the specific tests include detection of P24 antigen, virus isolation, detection of viral genome, or antibody detection tests. So, viral bodies can be detected. So, these are the four types of specific HIV detection tests. Those include detection of P24 antigen, viral isolation, detection of viral genome and antibodies, viral specific antibody tests. P24 antigen. We will see this P24 antigen in acute infection. So in acute infected patients, we can able to detect P24 genome. P24 antigen can be detected in the acute infection people. So if you got a needle prick injury in the lab means within 2 weeks, you can able to detect P24 antigen in our body. So by detection of this antigen, if we found we have this antigen means immediately we need to go for ART treatment. So the good thing is even HIV has post-exposure prophylaxis. So within 6 months, if we take antiretroviral drugs, we will get free from the virus if we found it in immediately. Okay, that's it. So we have tests for detection of P24 antigen. We have virus isolation tests. Virus will be usually isolated in CD4 cells only. Literally, we need to take human CD4 cells and we need to culture the virus in the human CD4 cells. And we can able to detect viral genome by PCR test, or we can even detect the antibodies. Viral specific antibodies can be detected. So these antibody tests are further divided into two types. Okay, ESR tests and supplementary tests. ESR stands for ELISA tests, rapid tests, and simple tests. Screening tests, ELISA tests. ELISA, no, directly with the help of ELISA, we can able to detect the viral antigen. And rapid tests, we have different types of rapid tests for HIV. So those rapid tests include dot blot test, lateral flow immuno test, immunochromatography test, particulated agglutination test, which is latex or gelatin agglutination test, and we have HIV spot test, which is a Coombs test. So these are the rapid tests for detection of HIV. So usually we will do these tests. Simply, we will call we will go to the area where we suspected, and we will call the people and we will say, just give us a prick, a finger prick. With the help of finger prick, we can able to detect this. Okay, rapid tests include dot blot assay, lateral flow assay, lateral flow immunochromatographic assay, particulate agglutination tests, and HIV spot tests are the rapid tests. And we have other simple tests which are based on ELISA tests. Okay, other than this, we have few more supplementary tests. So this supplementary test will able to isolate the viral proteins like GP120, GP24, P23, P18 can be isolated by supplementary tests like Western blot test, indirect immunofluorescence test, or radio immunoprecipitation test can be used for detection of virus. So these are the types of viral specific isolation, viral genome detection, or antibody tests. These antibody tests are of two types: ESR tests and supplementary tests. ESR tests include ELISA, rapid test, simple test. Rapid tests include dot blot assays, lateral flow tests, particulate agglutination tests, HIV spot tests. Simple tests include based on ELISA tests. Okay, and supplementary tests are Western blot tests, indirect immunofluorescence test, and radio immunoprecipitation tests are the supplementary tests. Then non-specific tests. So non-specific tests include total count and DLC, then CD4 count, CD4 to CD8 count, then platelet count, detection of the IgG and IgA levels, and skin test for cell mediated non-specific HIV tests. Total count, CD4, CD8 count, platelet count, immunoglobulin, skin test are the specific tests. So some uh, this particular flow chart is enough, students. Not discuss for too much time. Like how to detect P24 antigen, how to isolate virus, how to detect antibodies. Among these, we have one important test called Western blot test. Okay, this is a strip test, Western blot strip test. So here we can able to see different lines, and different lines indicates presence of viral proteins. So this line is P18, this is P24, P31, P41. So these are the antigens of virus. So by this Western blot test, we can able to see the complete HIV virus. By this Western blot, we can able to see the severity or the lethal, the the viral dose inside the patient. For example, in sample 1, there is no P18. P18 is not there, but so he is less infectious than this person. So this is a recent wala, and this is a late. He's a acute infection patient, and this is latent infection patient. Maybe in the next class I will finish lab diagnosis, students. Till now, any doubts? Any doubts so far? Need to share it actually. Maybe doubts, and that doubts can be clarified by reading, going through the notes. Already this notes has been shared in the group. If you want, I will provide
Yes,
notes
sir.
once again.
Sir, what is native place of HIV? Means, sir, like when I eat contaminated food and water, then I got
Okay, like what is the natural reservoir?
yes,
Natural
yes,
reservoir for HIV is humans only.
yes.
Humans
What
are
is
the
reason,
natural.
sir?
What is the reason?
Yes.
Sir,
Actually, it is adopted to survive only in humans.
CCR5, sir, CCR5 and CXCR4. CXCR4 and CCR5 receptors on CD4 cell. It present only in human cells.
CXCR5 and CXCR4, you want to know what? Very good. Yes, CX4 are present only in human cells. So that is why this virus can present only in humans. Okay. Yeah, that is one reason. Very CCR5 and CXCR4 only in humans. So that is the reason. This virus reservoir is humans only. Previously, this virus reservoir is macaque monkeys. So from macaque monkeys, it jumped into humans, and we got the HIV infection. So in the Uganda, which is the interior of Africa, there the people have hunting habits of eating monkeys. So during that time, the virus has been jumped from this macaque monkeys, and it infected humans. So by seeing the gene of this particular virus, this gene is very similar to the macaque monkeys, and that is the possible origin. So this virus is originated from macaque monkeys, and it jumped into humans, and it became
Sir,
a
we have
human
next
reservoir.
class, sir.
Mm-hmm. Huh?
Next, sir, we have no next class.
Next class. Okay. Thank you very much, students. Thank you very much. Within next lecture, we can finish this. Okay. Thank you very much. ఖుషి ఫోన్ ఆమె రిజల్ట్ కావాలంటే సెకండ్ సెమిస్టర్ అవునా